First week of the 2018-19 season in the books, Coach. Obviously, you go last weekend and you kind of handle Clayton State from start to finish, and then aren't able to really keep that momentum going against USC Aiken. Overall, just kind of assess how your team played last weekend.
Well, it was not a good weekend for us on a lot of levels. I thought we played 15 really good minutes against Clayton State. We got out of the gates, and unfortunately with our team right now, when shots are going, I think we're a little bit offense sensitive, and we made shots early against Clayton State, made a bunch of threes early, and that kind of energized our defense. Thought we defended really well, rebounded really well, got out in transition, and built, I think it was 40-11, in those first 15 minutes. And then from there, the last 65 minutes of the weekend were not good. Clayton State outplayed us the rest of the way, cut that thing down. I think we won by 21, and then we were obviously outplayed, outcoached the next day against USC Aiken. Like I told you after the game, we're not a well-coached team right now. I said that last Saturday, and it's there's things that you can get into, excuses, crutches, talk about, well, we're young, we have so many new guys or whatever, but the reality is a lot of what ails us is stuff that is very fixable. You look at just numbers from a discipline standpoint, we're undisciplined offensively. You look at our turnovers, 33 on the weekend. You look at our shot selection. We talk about hunting great and exhausting all options to try to find great. We settled and bailed out of innumerable possessions with contested shots early in the clock. And then that kind of translates over and carries over to the defensive end, where I think our opponent shot 56 free throws over the course of the weekend. That's a lack of discipline, and then we've got to play with much more urgency and competitiveness. You look at offensive rebounding, gave up 34 in the two games, 18 against Clayton, 16 against USC Aiken. And then in the Aiken game, we've never had it before, but we literally went 0 for on loose balls. And there was I think 12 loose balls. We were 0 for 12, and that's just guys not playing with a sense of urgency, a sense of desperation. It's Aiken really doing that, and they just came out and just outworked us, outcompeted us, and credit to them. I thought they made all the big plays down the stretch. One of the big shots of the game, it was, I think, 58-56. There's a loose ball. They run into the sideline stands to save it, throw it up. It's a jump ball. They get the jump ball, reverse it opposite, and 20. Washington gets a wide open 3, and he drills it to go up 5. And so, there's a lot of areas that we can improve upon. But those are things that are characteristic of well-coached teams. We got to be more disciplined. We got to be tougher. We certainly got to play with, move the ball and work offensively and try to get some rhythm and break the defense down. We averaged. We've been doing the analytics for a while, and we never had a game we averaged less than 2 passes per possession, but it was 1.94 against Clayton State, and then like 1.82 against Aiken. So those are things and characteristics of well-coached teams, and right now we all got to do a better job, starting with me.
So after that weekend, obviously we knew when we did our season preview stuff, we talked, it's a young team, a lot of new faces and stuff like that. You're through the first weekend of the season, and you talk about all these things that now you see need to be corrected. How has the team responded to that, and how has the coaching staff kind of gone about getting those things fixed?
Well, you just, there's no other path. You got to go in and do the work. It's going to be a work in progress. We knew that. I do think the guys have come in and with a heightened sense of focus and commitment to trying to do the things we've been asking them to do. I don't think anything that happened this weekend was like revelatory in nature. I mean, we can be, some of these things were cropping up in Canada. They cropped up in some scrimmages. We weren't very good. We competed great against Auburn, but we scored 62 points and shot in the 30s both games this past weekend at Aiken. So some of the stuff was existent. It just maybe it doesn't really register. They don't absorb it until it comes back to bite you. And now that it's bit us, I think we have a heightened focus on things we got to do to improve. And again, we talk all the time. I mean, everybody's got to be accountable, and there's shared ownership, right? So, accountability. Certainly, I got to be accountable. I got to do a better job. Players got to play better, and try to do what we're asking and apply it inside the game. And so as a coaching staff, we're going to look at ways to improve that. I've got some adjustments and tweaks we have to probably make, and whether that's rotationally, starting lineup, minutes the guys are getting, trying to get other guys minutes, maybe taking a guy that we were going to redshirt off redshirt. We've got to look at every possible option to maximize this group, help this team be the best it can be, and that's what we're about. Thankfully, we have a week of practice. We're 2 days in, still 2 days left, but before we go play Christian Brothers. So we took off Sunday and just watched film Monday, didn't practice, but having 4 full days of practice, hopefully we can be an improved team by the time we step out on the floor on Saturday.
You talked about that. Those are some things that have been cropping up and kind of rearing their heads anyways, but we've seen this in the past. The 2015-16 team loses early in the season. You never want to take losses. But is there a part of it that says, this is part of the experience, and now you have multiple films to show the guys and say, this is how it doesn't work. Yeah. Now move it forward, and then we can progress as a team.
Yeah, like always, crisis brings clarity, right? So, when people have crisis, whether it's losing, and it's not a real crisis, but, health crisis, whatever, it usually brings some clarity and focus to the situation, and people make the necessary adjustments. Obviously, really good teams are able to improve and win. Able to continue to get better and stay focused on the process of growth while they're having success. But most teams, and it's unfortunate, you have to have some, stub your toe some, have some adversity, some failures, and then you come back and you refocus on it. I'm not at all, disappointed with losing to USC Aiken. I think USC Aiken's a really good team. They're an NCAA tournament team. They outplayed us, absolutely deserved to win, and they're going to beat a lot of people on their home floor. I think they're a surefire, NCAA tournament team. There's no shame in that. What I was disappointed in is, the way we lost and the reasons behind, our loss. And so those are things, like I said, that I think are most of what ails us is correctable. But there has to be a focus on going out, and everybody's got a job to do every single possession. Everybody's got to go out and do their job. On a possession-by-possession basis, you do that possession, and you can continue to do that over and over and over again. That's the path to becoming a good team. That's the path to becoming a good player, to be able to go out and execute your job at a high level and sustain that. And so we've got a long way to go. But again, I would have felt better had we lost because we had a bad day. It's one thing to you're working and you're driving and you're playing collectively offensively, and the ball's flying around and you're generating open looks and you're missing them. That's a bad day. When you just go down and just cast up bad shots, you're not having a bad day. You're just taking bad shots. There's a difference between those things, and the toughness stuff defensively. Going 0 for on loose balls, giving up 16 offensive rebounds, putting them at the free throw line. I think they were there 26 times, 27 times. It's a credit to our guys. I told them if there is a silver lining, it's that we were able to take the lead in the second half on multiple occasions. I think once. Right at the 10-minute mark, on Anthony Brown's 3, we come right down and give up a straight line drive layup to Barrymore from there. But we were right there. We had our chance in the second half, as poorly as we played. But again, a lot of blame to us. But Aiken's a really good team. They played very well on their home floor and absolutely deserved the outcome they got.
Well, you had a whole week, like we said, you got a whole week of practice here, and now Saturday head to Memphis, another tough game here in your early season slate at Christian Brothers, a 20-win team, just missed the NCAA tournament from a season ago. They're off to a 2-0 start, beat Central State twice this past weekend. So talk about the challenge of that Christian Brothers will present.
Yeah, well, I think it'll be significant. They're 21-9, returned 4 starters from last year's team. I think they were picked 2nd or 3rd in the GSC, which is a great league. Mike does a really good job with them. They've got a big kid, Adam Diebold, who's averaging I think right around 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists a game through first 2 games. He's an All-American. He's got great size and skill, and then they surround him with good players. Larabi is a good player. Miller's a good player. 24, can really shoot it. And Lyons inside is kind of a prototype 4-man. He doesn't shoot a ton of threes, but he's a very efficient player. and they come off the bench with a couple guys that impact them at 20 and 5. So they don't play a lot of guys. They're very unique in terms of their style. It's Princeton offense, which we haven't seen, and so that's a lot for our guys to digest and absorb. When you have a group like this that hasn't seen a lot of this stuff. So we certainly have to balance working on ourselves and trying to improve in the areas that we have to grow in individually, and try to do the best we can to be as prepared as possible for the challenges that the Princeton offense presents. And Mike does a really good job that they run it as well. He and Lenny Akov probably run as well as anybody in the country. So they do. It was some of the stuff we struggle with this weekend in terms of discipline. If you lose discipline against these guys, one, they play deep in the shot clocks. You better be able to sustain your focus and concentration for 30 seconds every single time. And then two, if you lose focus for a second, they're backdooring you or getting a wide open three. So you got to really be in tune, locked in, and we can't lose focus for a second. Otherwise, they'll carve us up. So it's a lot of challenge on both ends of the floor.